Broads Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to another episode of Sports Talk with Bros. This may surprise you, but I'm going to be talking about the Super Bowl champs. Super Bowl 59 champs. The champions. The team that won the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles, comma, Super Bowl champions. Is there a comma there? Don't know. Don't care. All I care about is the Lombardi Trophy and the fact that Friday is going to be absolutely insane. So let's have some fun today. As for the next 30 minutes, once again, we'll break down this squad and this game that just occurred on Sunday because, well, there's no better football game in the history of the NFL. That was truly the greatest game of pigskin to ever be played. And I don't even think it's a debate. I don't want to hear it for 1 second that there's other epic games. No, there's not. There's not one better than that. There's not one where you saw a team so locked in, so prepared, executed so well. Even the plays that were fucked up resulted in touchdowns. When they scored because of A.J. Brown's tutty, the tight ends were lined up wrong. There's behind the scenes Mike stuff going on right now. You know, mic'd up behind the scenes. Not behind the scenes, it's in the game, but, you know, just a different view of it. And Jalen Hurts is going to the bench going, what? We lined up wrong. Tight ends are supposed to be on the right side of the formation. They're on the left side of the line. AJ's wide open. I mean, it doesn't get more beautiful than that. It's the best football game my eyes have ever seen. So let's talk more about it here with some lists, shall we? This show is going to be titled The Top 3 Lists Show. Very creative. Thank you. And it all started as I was preparing how I wanted to approach this with this clip from Fox Sports 1. Here's Emmanuel Acho ranking the credit that should go to the Philadelphia Eagles, who deserves the most credit, who deserves the second most credit, and then, of course, there is a third. Hence why, once again, this is called the Top 3 List Show. We'll react to his comments, and I'll share with you mine, and then we have some other things I want to get into. Here we go.
I'll list it out in 3 ways.
Oh, I like it.
Number 1, Vic Fangio.
Come on now.
Defensive coordinator. Number 2, Josh Sweat.
Oh.
Number 3, everybody else.
Oh, so you ranked them. Oh,
Yeah.
Vic
Fangio gets the most credit because
Okay.
Chase said something. You have to trust your players to make the plays, and he did. Rushing 4 men should not have worked because the Chiefs' offensive line has 5. By mathematical equations, Chiefs should win that. They did not. Why didn't they? Because Josh Sweat, I'll be honest, I bet the under on you getting tackles every game. This game, I didn't touch it because I saw you switched agents. You realize, hey, you're up for a contract. Josh Sweat led both teams in tackles through about 3 quarters with 6 of them. He finished with 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, plus 6 tackles. Then everybody else, it's the little things. You have cornerbacks getting reroutes, throwing off the timing of the Chiefs. You have zone coverage players with their eyes in the right spot. You have defensive tackles getting pushed in the right areas. You got players when they need a spying. Players when they need a hugging. I mean, what the Chiefs did, what the Eagles did defensively was beyond words and truly beyond comprehension to be able to do that play in and play out. I love that game. I love the defense. I give them the credit.
All right, so here's where I go with my list. And honestly, it's just whatever way you sort of digest the game. Like, I don't think you're crazy to think Vic Fangio is number 1 on a list, right? I don't think it's crazy to point out Josh Sweat. I don't think it's crazy to have any of these names in your top 3. But I go with Jalen Hurts at number 1 because let's be honest, what did Spags say? When Spags walked into that room and looked at his men and told him the game plan, it was what? We are going to force Jalen Hurts to beat us. Oh, he fucking beat you all right. That was a disgusting game of football by Jalen, and I'm saying that in a good way. It was outstanding. 70-plus rushing yards in the Super Bowl again. That throw to Jahan Dotson, realizing things pre-snap, moving around at the line of scrimmage and studying what the other team is electing to do, hitting A.J. Brown. That bomb to Devontae Smith was serious, and that was sort of the deal closer, right? That closed the deal, and that sealed it. and that was a big-time touchdown to blow out the Chiefs even more than they already were. This was huge. This was crucial from Jalen, and my man delivered big time. So when the other team's defensive coordinator went with the idea of, we are going to win because Jalen can't beat us, and then he balls out that efficiently and is that beautiful on the field, then I need to give my credit to number one as my number one. They didn't think he could do it. They said do it over 4 quarters. He did it. Over 4 quarters, actually 3 and change, because it was so embarrassing for Kansas City that Kenny Pickett played and got snaps. So number one is my quarterback. He had one bad throw all day, which was the interception, and that was rough. Don't get me wrong. But other than that, sensational work from Jalen. Number 2, I'm going with Jalen Carter. And here's why. He was double teamed essentially half of his snaps. He played around 40 snaps, and for 19 of them, he was double teamed, and he created a couple of pressures, quarterback pressures, even with multiple bodies staring in his direction. But part of the reason why the other edge rushers, or edge rushers in general, he's a tackle, but you got my point. Other guys on the defensive line were able to have the success that they had is because of the focus on Jalen Carter. You cannot allow for him to have favorable matchups because he will blow it wide open as it is. So you got to take your chances that Josh Sweat won't eat, that Nolan Smith won't eat, that Milton Williams won't eat, which is funny because they will. The attention to Jalen Carter is what opens up the door for anybody else to flourish as insanely as they did. So I'm actually going with the big fella in the middle and saying Jalen Carter, number 98, is number 2 on the list. And then for number 3, it's another presence thing, right? Jalen Carter, it's about his presence. And I said this a little bit on yesterday's show, I believe it was, after taking one of the Anytime Hotline calls. And I really stressed what Saquon being out there even meant, because they sold out. They put all their bodies on number 26, which then allowed for others to have great games, and they need to execute when that's happening. And, Jalen, the reason why some of these plays are available is because all they did was attach their attention to Saquon and said he can't beat us. So the presence of Jalen Carter, the presence of Saquon Barkley is what set the tone for the game, and the entire game plan of the Chiefs was predicated essentially off of those 2 men. And Jalen made the most of it. Josh Sweat made the most of it. Nolan Smith, Milton Williams, all these guys made the most of it. Ojomo got in there. Jalix Hunt got in there. These guys balled out for sure. And Jalen's the quarterback who's touching the ball every time, and they dared him to beat him, and he did. So that's why he's number 1 on my list, because they thought he couldn't, and he stepped up big time. And they said, you are only going to win if Jalen beats us. And he did. So that's why he's number 1. But this all starts because the Chiefs clearly put a major emphasis on number 98 and number 26, and both of their presence seriously dictated the style of game this was going to be. You always have to be aware. So whether they lit the scoreboard up or not, or the box score up from an individual numbers or not, which clearly there were other sexy numbers on the box score, you're able to do what you do because of them just being there. And I can't lose sight of that. Jalen knows it too. Here's Jalen Hurts on the sidelines talking to Saquon Barkley when they understood, we're Super Bowl champions.
Jalen Hurts gonna smile now. When that hit 0-0, hey man, that's you. That's you. Come on. That's you. All of us, man. I know it's all of us, but you don't understand the difference you made. We right there, but you like that last piece, man.
It's the truth. It is the truth. I'll talk about Jalen Hurts until I die. I'll give Jalen Hurts all the love in the world until I'm no longer breathing. That dude deserves an insane amount of credit, and I'm going to give him that credit all throughout the offseason for the rest of my life because we have an elite quarterback in his own way. It doesn't compare to anybody else's elite style. It's a Jalen Hurts elite presence. All I care about. It doesn't matter how that matches up with how somebody else does it. It works for him. It works for this franchise. It works for this team, this core, this general manager who we all claim what? Is one of the best to ever do it. He's one of the smartest GMs in not just the NFL, but in all of sports. He is that savvy. Well, if he's that talented and knows what he's doing with personnel and understands talent evaluation and knows what to do to construct something beautiful that can win titles, he believes in Jalen. I'll trust his, I don't want to say diagnosis, but, diagnosis of the skill here and of the talent. You see what Jalen's able to do. The smartest general manager in sports knows we can lock him up. We can win football games with him. We can win Super Bowls with him. He reminds me of a prime Russell Wilson. Not this crap Russell Wilson, the good Russell Wilson. They were obsessed because they missed out on that Russell Wilson. They said, we can't allow for that to happen again. Now we're winning Super Bowls. Now we're in our second Super Bowl in 3 years, and now we have another title next to our name. Come on, man. So I'll always appreciate what Jalen Hurts provides because he is elite. The attention that the other team has to apply to someone as talented as Saquon Barkley, it's unprecedented. It really is to that level. We heard all these comments about how, well, the Chiefs had to line up against a really great back before in the San Francisco 49ers when they had Christian McCaffrey. They did just fine. It's not the same. It's not the same. Christian McCaffrey's really, really, really good. It's not the same. Saquon Barkley, again, similar to the Jalen Hurts unique style thing, Saquon's home run hit ability, traditional running, this offensive line. I feel with Christian McCaffrey, a lot of that is the appeal of Kyle Shanahan and the offense and the pre-snap movement and the creativity and the route running and all that stuff that is applied to him and the way they use him and his usage right there. It's not really the same as what Saquon accomplished here. And knowing if you do not slow him down, you have a 0% chance of winning, you have to go all out. I mean, Spags didn't do anything. He just said, this is the only way you can do it. And they just have to hope and pray. The funny part is that there's a 0% chance of winning if you dare Jalen Hurts to beat you with very, 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 very manageable matchups with this type of skill position talent on the outside. And even the Dotsons of the world, too, by the way. You can't lose. You can't lose when you're built this strong. It's incredible. So that's how I label for my 1, 2, and 3. And I'm curious how you feel out there. Now, for moments of the game, we're going to go in backwards order here. 3, 2, and 1 for my moments of the game. My top 3 moments. Number 3 is Pat Mahomes getting beat up by Jalen Carter, Milton Williams. His arm is getting snapped back. He's getting hit in the face. He got annihilated. And I remember the noise that I made in real time when I was watching it. And it went a little something like this. Oh, my fuck! It was something like that. It was just, oh, wow! Are you kidding me? Fuck him up! It was something along the lines of that. And I want to relive that moment again. Because when I saw his arm as he was trying to launch one and he gets peppered and there's a billion Eagles jerseys flying all around him, the ball gets loose. Now you're seeing the bird scoop the ball up and try and make a push with it, try and make a big run with it. See what you can do once you pick up the pig scowl. The bodies are fucking... These are the type of noises that are happening. Amazing. Number 2. Come on, man. It's the Cooper DeJean touchdown. My favorite thing right now while I scroll on TikTok for hours and hours when I shouldn't is the constant amount of people in their home reacting to that specific play. We all had the same exact reaction. I blacked out. I literally didn't know what happened for a good 15 to 18 seconds as I was jumping up and down in front of the TV. I was stoked when I saw the pick. I didn't realize that it was going to go to the house. Once he started to break free and he was at the 20, he was at the 15, he was at the 10. I promise you, as someone who wasn't, blacking out due to vodka shots here, I wasn't like I was taking a fireball to the back of the throat here and blacking out. This was all natural highs of watching my football team, compete in a Super Bowl and go whack some ass. So when Cooper DeJean is doing his thing, I blacked out in excitement of screaming. And you may be thinking, bro, how is that not number 1 then? Well, because there was a moment in time where the game actually finished. And I'm not talking about when the clock hit 0, because then you had Kenny Pickett in. Let that sink in. Kenny Pickett was in the game. You think people were mad it wasn't McKee? There probably were. There are probably fans out there. Come on! Why isn't our backup Tanner McKee? I like his pocket presence. He's tall. He can see over the line. There's probably some 85-year-olds that are just not thrilled with Nick. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. When the game was officially over. Not officially over, but over within the game. The bomb to Devontae Smith. Because the moment Devontae Smith scored that touchdown, I lounged back in my chair. I was in the certain part of the couch. It was the couch cushion. And I sort of folded. I folded over. And I collapsed and sort of soaked into the couch. I don't know what word to use here. But I sunk into the couch. And I realized we did it. It's a wrap. We just fucking won the Super Bowl. There can't be a better moment than knowing it's all said and done. The Cooper DeJean to the house, there was still plenty of time left. You got to take advantage of all these moments, and that was a big swing moment, and the momentum was massive as it favored the Eagles in that time. But there was still a lot of football left. You don't know what Pat Mahomes can do down in a Super Bowl. We've seen the greats come back before with epic drives. There was still so much to be done. When Devontae caught the ball in the end zone with that filthy bomb and that amazing pass by Jalen, there weren't any more questions. There was nothing else to actually wait and see. It was just, okay, we'll figure it out now. We just got to wait for the time to finish. That's all. Now it's just about, when is this thing over? I'm getting a little hungry. Hey, I'm a little thirsty. Where are those garage beers? DrinkGarageBeer.com. 0% IPA, 100% light beer, 1,000% quality. Where's my garage beer? DrinkGarageBeer.com. That's probably what they're saying on the sidelines. Come on, man. So those are my top 3 moments of the game. I have one here that I'm not really feeling, but I saw people debating it on social media. And it was the list of importance of these 3 UFAs on the team. Bond, Milton Williams, and Josh Sweat. And I'd be lying if I told you, very similar to the Kellen Moore thing, where I'm just not ready to bite into the where do the Eagles go from here at the offensive coordinator position talk yet. I'm just not there. I'm still trying to enjoy this and kind of process what the hell just happened. Every morning I wake up, I'm not making this up, but every single time I wake up, I do have to do a wake up of a slap in the face kind of thing. Whoa. I put water on my face, shake it off, look in the mirror and go, yeah, no, bro, that really did happen like that. You really did expose the Chiefs like that. You really showed your dominance like that. It's amazing. So UFAs right now, I'm not really biting into it insanely, but I'll give you my very early thought, all right? That's kind of how I explain it here. the list of importance for top 3 lists of, Bond, Milton, and Sweat, it goes in that order. If we're looking at lists, the importance here, like the level of importance here. Zach Bond, number 1. Milton Williams, number 2 for me. Josh Sweat, number 3. That's how I would order it. And I trust Howie's ability to get another edge rusher with Josh Sweat leaving. You could tell what he was looking for, right? He switches the agent. He has a monster day. Whatever he says publicly about what it's about, money, the right fit, team, he's trying to get his bag, which is fair. But I trust Howie Roseman to continue to surge when it comes to getting unbelievable defensive end talent. I like Milton Williams' role. Zach Bond having a linebacker out there is definitely extremely important to me, and you can see the difference when you have an all-pro level linebacker and what that means to the defense as an entire unit. So I would love to try and keep him if you can. That's number 1. I like Milton Williams' role, and then with Josh Sweat, it just seems inevitable. So that's why I kind of put him 3rd on my 1, 2, 3 list, just because I think it seems like he's 1 foot out the door. Hey, go finish strong here in an Eagles uniform, right? Go do something awesome in the Super Bowl and make a statement and ball out. Go get your money, right? That's great. We'll love you forever. Thank you. Your contributions from when you were drafted to where you are now, nothing short of remarkable. We thank you so much for all your time and all your hard work and sweat and determination. Sweat, no pun intended here. Thank you very much. Seems 1 foot out the door already. That's probably swaying my very early thinking. But anyway, we'll move along from that. I do have some anytime hotline calls, but 2 quick notes here. 1, the Jason Kelce slander is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the fact that there are Eagles fans upset with Jason Kelce for rooting for his brother in a Super Bowl, what the hell is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? 1, it's not that serious. 2, you have to question Jason Kelce's love for the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? It's a very conflicting thing. You spend all your time in this organization and playing for this organization, teammates, they become family by extension, right? But then you have your blood brother who you love more than anything in the fucking world outside of your daughters, your wife, but, it's all within the same realm here. So God forbid he wanted to see his brother complete something that nobody has ever done in the history. 1, it's not that serious. 2, shut up. You're pathetic. If you actually care that much about Jason Kelce rooting on his brother in the Super Bowl, dude, shut up. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I mean this. If you care that much, you're weird. You are weird. Put yourself in the shoes of any, I guess, his shoes would make the most sense here, but I don't understand that. I said the same thing when it came to Joel Embiid and Marcus Hayes. When family is involved, everything else goes out the window. It's just what it is. If you talk about somebody in my family who passed away and put it in an article and relate that to me playing basketball, I'm going to put my hands on you. Right? I'm putting myself in Embiid's shoes. I think that is one of the scummiest things you could ever write. When you talk about family, it's no longer about basketball. You reach something personal that is insane to the human emotion. You can't duplicate. People say this all the time about kids. Once you have your own kid, once you have your own daughter, your own son, you understand what unconditional love really means. You can say it, but you don't get it until you feel it. And there's truth to that. Well, same applies to your brother, to your sister, to your mother, to your father. Unconditional love. So he's rooting for that to win the Super Bowl. Shut up. All right, now here's my second point. A.J. Brown's caption. This thing fired me up. A.J. Brown's caption. I'll probably even incorporate this into another show because I could go on and on and on about this, but his Instagram caption, after a few days, I've had time to reflect on being a champion. I tried to feel how everybody made it seem to be a champion, and unfortunately, it was short-lived. 2 days to be exact. I'd never been a champion at the highest level before, but I thought my hard work would be justified by winning it all, and it wasn't. My thrill for this game comes when I dominate. It's the hunt that does it for me. It's when the DB drops his head and surrender because he can't F with me. The intense battles, early mornings, late night sacrifices. I love putting smiles on people's faces. Don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't what I thought it would be. It's the journey that I love most. Back to work. This team's wired differently. This team is wired differently. I'll use that as a tease because I imagine I'll go back to that at some point for sure. All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline and hear some calls here.
They said Jalen can't throw the deep ball. He can't read a defense. Stack the box and stop Saquon to make Jalen beat you. They said Saquon's going to get hurt. He's not a difference maker. He's not going to plus up the team. Cooper DeJean's too white. 55 is too old. Mekhi Becton's going to get hurt. Cam Jurgens is no Jason Kelsey. They had to say something about every fucking person on this team. And what did Jason Kelsey say in 2018? It takes the whole team, and the whole team beat the absolute dog piss out of the Chiefs and exposed them for the frauds they are. There aren't many people leaving this team. I know Kellen Moore is going to be with the Saints. Good for him. If the offense is able to do this kind of stuff after having a new OC every single year, I'm not honestly worried as long as we bring in a somewhat decent person. But it's time to run this shit back. And it's time to do what should have been done in 2019 if Carson Wentz hadn't gotten hurt and actually continued to play the way he was. Go Birds. We got 7 weeks until Phillies. Can't wait to be talking about that.
Yeah, I see everybody tweeting about pitchers and catchers and all that. I'm sorry, I can't get into any of it. I'm sorry, I can't. Taiwan Walker, Dave Dombrowski telling us that Taiwan Walker looks to be in good shape. Oh, my God. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Then the Sixers have a brutal loss to the Raptors, who suck, and they blow. You got your big three back, Embiid with garbage turnovers late. Come on. Paul George is not even close to a superstar max contract player. Maxey has one of his worst days he had in the last 20-something days. It's crazy. I can't stand it. Nothing's going to fly right now. Even the fly guys, I can't do it. It's all about the Birch. I can't even think about the Phillies right now. But I like what you first stated about Saquon Barkley, and he's injury prone, and he's had so many injuries with the Giants, even though if you look at his games played, there's always been talk about him missing some time or whatever. But I'm just saying, games played in New York told a different story than what the perception was and how it was perceived sometimes with him being all banged up. I mean, I know that there are certain specific troll guys up in New York who work for WFAN who was saying this is one of the worst signings in history. I'll say this, I was confused on how he making that move because he is not accustomed to paying his running backs that type of money. But when I heard him talk about why they value Saquon differently is he's a game breaker. He's a game changer. Regardless of the position, you put money into that. You look at your assets and you look at your salary cap and you look at your finances. Doesn't matter what position they play. If they fall into the category of game breaker, game wrecker, you have to go out and pounce. And that's exactly what they did. So I was a little nervous just because it seemed out of the norm of the Howie Roseman move. That's not, no, we never see him do that. It's you get rid of the guys that need the big money when it's time for a running back. You go and draft someone so they're cheap for a while. And, you go and get, low risk, high reward type guys, plug and play behind this line. They never go out for the big swing for someone like Saquon. And there were questions on how it would play out. It's the missing piece. And he's number 3 on my list on why the Eagles won the Super Bowl in that game. To be fair, I mean, he's probably number 1-ish on why they won it in general, just because he set the tone week in and week out. But for the game, he was right up there, even with a lesser day at the office for his standard, let's say. All right, back to the phones.
Listen, bros. Student at Pitt, legend at Pitt, Kenny Pickett kneeled the clock out in the Super Bowl. Champion Kenny Pickett, that will forever be next to his name. Super Bowl champ, ACC champ. I know it's a Philadelphia show, but there's a lot of heads out here in Pittsburgh, and I wanted to say shout out to Kenny Pickett getting snaps in the Super Bowl before Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and any of those other quarterbacks in the AFC not named Mahomes.
Wow. All right. I'd be lying to you if I said I thought we'd be getting some Kenny Pickett. If anything, I thought we'd be getting Kenny Pickett slander that it wasn't Tanner McKee. But we're getting Pitt students calling in saying you put respect on my guys. That's how great this Super Bowl was. We could take calls about Kenny Pickett. That's how dominant this effort was. Kenny Pickett, man. Wow. You're right, though. Got more snaps than all these other frauds who can't get to the Super Bowl. Yo, you also got Dak Prescott saying the Cowboys are right there. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Oh, yeah. We'll react to that throughout the week as well. Don't you worry about it. All right. I don't really know how to react to the Kenny Pickett call, but let's take a final call here and then wrap things up.
Let's fucking go Birds. What a hell of a game that was. I'm starting to think that I might have something to do with this. I remember back in 2017, during the Super Bowl, I had the flu. And then in 2022, I was healthy, but then this past Super Bowl, my girlfriend had the flu too. So I'm starting to think that maybe there's some correlation there, maybe some Michael Jordan flu game sort of thing. I don't know. But anyways, great game all around. I was definitely somebody who shit-talked Coach Sirianni, and I will definitely take that back. I thought he should have been fired last year, but he is fantastic. He's done a great job turning this team around. Jalen Hurts, I've always been a believer in him, and I'm so happy he got to prove all the doubters wrong. I always knew that he could always, handle business with his arm. Even if we were running the ball really, really well, I knew that he could always take over a game whenever he needed to. Obviously, Saquon was a hell of a year. Receivers doing their job, and then our defense. Our defense was – I've never seen something like that in my life. Legion of Boom, honestly, I definitely would say they're better than that. I mean, you got Zach Bond out here getting interceptions, Cooper DeJean, the exciting white on his birthday with the pick six off of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that. I mean, you also got, Josh Sweat with, I think he had like 2.5, sacks as well. Milton Williams killing it as well.
Yeah, man, the whole team, for sure. You're right, though. When it just comes to suffocation, I've never seen anything like this from an entire defense. And you bring up the flu game, there were worries about Jalen Carter all throughout the week because he couldn't even go to some of the media availability due to not feeling right. And then a couple days into the Super Bowl week, we got hit by Derek Gunn saying, yeah, it seems, saying we got hit with news. It was positive news. That kind of sounded weird. But the news was, hey, it seems like everybody's trending in the right direction and the fear of the sickness and the illness may be spreading. It seems like it's shining in the right direction here, and let's move forward. But, there was worry about where he was, health-wise. And then Jalen Carter eats up that much double teams, too. It's just amazing stuff. This team from top to bottom is truly, truly special. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I greatly appreciate all your love and support. Thank you, guys. You're the best in the entire world. We're not slowing down anytime soon. Go Birds! Talk to you on the next one.